All right, for those who are new, my name is Anthony Rayborn. I'm the director of H.E.A.L Lifestyle Academy, H.E.A.L Lifestyle Academy. And today we want to look at part two of what we started the week before, 2 weeks ago, dealing with the seat of consequences, the seat of consequences. And today we want to unveil the impact on our body systems. The impact on our body system. Before we start, as usual, there are two things I would like to say to you and two promises. Two things. The first thing is to get paper and a writing instrument. The shortest pencil is longer than the longest memory. Thing number two, stay away from the 5 worst words in the world. And those 5 worst words in the world are I have heard that before. I have heard that before. Those words create closed-mindedness instead of open-mindedness. And the two promises are promise number one, you will learn something today that you can use right away. You will learn something today that you can use right away. Promise number two, I'm available to work with you further, either on a one-on-one basis or with your group or organization. And of course, we have our disclaimer. The information in this presentation is intended for general informational purposes only and should not be considered as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. As a naturopathic doctor, I am sharing insights and suggestions based on my expertise in natural health and wellness. However, it's important to consult with a medical doctor before making any significant changes to your health regimen, especially if you have underlying medical conditions, are taking medications, or have specific health concerns. All right. So welcome back, everybody. We'll briefly revisit the key insights from our first presentation, right, where we discovered how sedentary habits, whether sitting or lying for too long, regardless of physical activity afterwards, can significantly affect our well-being. And so we're going to dive into the impact on specific body systems as we go through what we passed last week, the last 2 weeks. So based on a comprehensive study conducted by the American Cancer Society in 2010, tracking a cohort of 123,000 individuals between 1993 to 2016, alarming findings emerged. Participants who sat for more than 6 hours daily faced a staggering 94% higher likelihood of dying than their physically active counterparts who spent less than 3 hours a day sitting. What is notable is that these results remained consistent irrespective of overall physical activity levels, demonstrating that the detrimental effects, the detrimental effects were as pronounced for those engaging in regular exercise. We also looked at health risks based on the New York State Department of Health. There are a multitude of health risks connected to prolonged sitting, which are serious and they can detrimentally affect our overall well-being. The New York State Health Department said physical inactivity is a significant risk factor for cardiovascular disease, or CVD, comparable to the risks associated with smoking, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. All right? Physical inactivity is comparable to smoking, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. And what makes it particularly impactful, the New York State Health Department said, is its widespread prevalence. In other words, twice as many adults in the United States, this was done for United States, but this could be worldwide, are physically inactive compared to those who smoke cigarettes. A sedentary lifestyle has been shown to significantly decrease your quality of life, while at the same time greatly increasing your likelihood of suffering from today's degenerative diseases. For example, inactivity is associated with an increased risk of heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, cancer, as well as anxiety and depression. And so just how much does inactivity increase one's risk, right? You'll be surprised. Last week we went over this. Research has shown that individuals who lack regular exercise experience a similar risk of diseases as those who smoke or have extremely high cholesterol levels, right? And we talked about this in detail last week. And so today we will delve into how prolonged sitting affects various body systems such as cardiovascular, musculoskeletal, and metabolic. Next week would be part 3. And so this detailed exploration will provide, hopefully, a comprehensive understanding of the health implications. And before we go into it, I need to ask a question, just for you to participate. From those of us who were here 2 weeks ago, was there a key insight or a statistic that stood out to you from our previous discussion? Anybody quickly? Was there a key insight that you learned or discovered, or was there a statistic that stood out to you from our previous discussion? Anyone? Anyone? Nobody remembered? Nobody took notes. Okay. All right. So we go to part 2. So our heart is said to be the powerhouse of our body, and it is not immune to the effects of prolonged sitting. The cardiovascular impact, as it says here, refers to the effects and the influences that a particular factor or behavior has on your cardiovascular system. And the cardiovascular system includes your heart and your blood vessels. So in this context, we are specifically focusing on how prolonged sitting affects the cardiovascular system. The American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine, and I have the link at the bottom of the screen, says that regular physical activity significantly reduces the risk of various diseases and mortality or death. They said, despite clear evidence, only 1 in 5 adults met recommended activity guidelines in 2015. Physical inactivity is the 4th leading cause of death. Now, I don't know if somebody have heard this before. The first time you're hearing it, it's not from me, the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine. All right? Physical inactivity is the 4th leading cause of death. It contributes to 6% of coronary heart disease, 7% of type 2 diabetes, 10% of breast cancer, and 10% of colon cancer cases. And these statistics highlight the importance of regular exercise for overall health and disease prevention. We move quickly to the musculoskeletal impact, right? Dealing with the muscles and the skeletal of your body, the wrists, the ankles, the knees, the pelvis, shoulders, all the joints. And so we're going to address the effect of or on the musculoskeletal system, which includes the muscles, the bones, joints, ligaments, and your tendons. All right, so the impact on the muscles and the joints. We'll deal first with the muscles. Prolonged sitting, research tells us, can lead to muscle stiffness. And I'm sure somebody here can testify about that. Muscle stiffness and tightness, particularly in the hip flexors, the hamstrings, and your lower back muscles, right? Prolonged sitting. Over time, this can contribute to reduced flexibility and increased discomfort. So if you have been experiencing muscle stiffness and tightness, particularly in the hips, in your hamstrings, in your lower back, you might be sitting for too long. And over time, this can contribute to reduced flexibility and increase your discomfort. What about the impact on the joints? Continuous sitting, especially in poor posture, may result in increased pressure on your joints. And this increased pressure can potentially lead to issues such as joint pain, reduced mobility, unable to get around, and an increased risk of conditions like osteoarthritis. Please take note or take a picture. So here are some tips for preventing musculoskeletal issues related to sitting. So the first thing is take a break. Get out of your chair. It's killing you, as we found out 2 weeks ago, right? Sitting is a new death. Take regular breaks. Stand up, stretch, and move around every 30 minutes to prevent stiffness and promote circulation. Every 30 minutes or so. So in other words, we discovered 2 weeks ago that if you sit for an hour, you need to exercise and move about for 10 minutes. If you sit for half an hour, you need to move about for 5 minutes, all right? To prevent stiffness and to promote circulation. Tip number 2, ergonomic setup, right? Ergonomic setup. And ergonomic simply means set up in a way that relates to or is designed for efficiency and comfort in your working or sitting environment. And on the screen, there's a picture, there's an example of how we should probably sit at our desks with our backs to the chair, So adjust your chair, your desk, and your computer screen to maintain a neutral posture and reduce strain on your muscles and your joints. Tip number 3, I believe. Yeah. Exercise routine. Incorporate regular physical activity into your routine. So in other words, if you're going to the store, you may want to park further away from the entrance to get some exercise. If you're going in a building that has an elevator, you're going probably to the 3rd floor, try using the stairs to get your exercise. Our bodies were made to move, all right? So incorporate regular physical activity into your routine, including exercise that strengthen core muscles and promote flexibility. And you can easily go on YouTube and find exercises for any station in life that you find yourselves. It's right there on the University of YouTube. Posture awareness. Be mindful of your sitting or standing posture. Sit with your back straight, shoulders relaxed, and your feet flat on the floor to reduce stress on your spine and supporting muscles. There are also some stretching exercises that you can do if you're at the office, if you're at home, even if you're sitting on the chair watching television. There are things you can do, right? Stretching exercises. Perform regular stretching exercises for key muscle groups, especially those prone to tightness due to prolonged sitting, right? You can do squats, you can do planks, the whole plethora of things you can do to relax those muscles. And we talked about strengthening exercises. I want to suggest that doing what this young man is doing here. Anybody knows what that's called? Anyone?
Squats.
Squats. That's correct. Squats are very good. In fact, the other night, while I was away for the weekend doing a leadership seminar in Massachusetts, and my wife was having terrible back pains, lower back pains, and I told her to do some squats. She was even crying in pain, and she did about 5. I said, "No, keep going. Try to make 10." And the pain didn't go away right away, but within 5 or 10 minutes, it was manageable. By the next day, it was gone, completely gone, right? Squatting is very good for your back, for your glutes, your buttocks muscles, for your hamstring, for your legs. It's an overall exercise, and also your posture. It is very, very good. And you've seen a perfect demonstration of how to execute squats, right? So it's also good for strength training. So include strength training exercises to build muscle support around your joints, which will reduce the risk of musculoskeletal issues. And while you're doing all of this, it's important to remain hydrated. Stay hydrated to support overall musculoskeletal health. Remember, we talked about some months ago that when we are dehydrated, the body gives off what is called histamine, which is another form of inflammation that flows to the area that we have pain or stiffness to try to help. Too much of the histamine is detrimental to us. We did a talk on inflammation. Go to our YouTube channel, H.E.A.L Lifestyle Academy, and you should find the recording there. So inflammation is not our friend. In fact, one can easily say that a lot of diseases have as their foundation inflammation. Inflammation, right? It's not our friend. So when we are dehydrated, the body thinks that we are in some kind of shock or that poisons are coming into our bodies, and it secretes histamine, the inflammation. But we want to put water into our bodies because we are made up of about 75% of water. The brain is about 80% water. And sometimes when you don't drink enough water based on your height and your weight, your brain begin to get a headache. Your brain is saying, I need water. Our bodies don't manufacture water. So the water is used up, it has to be replaced. When we talk, when we inhale, exhale, sleep, cough, sneeze, when we sleep, when we walk, use the bathroom, we are losing water and we have to replace it. Water is essential for our body. It is essential for joint lubrication and for maintaining the elasticity of connective tissues, even like our skin. So water is our best friend. All right. So let's talk about the uh, metabolic consequences, right? We want to unravel the impact of prolonged sitting on our metabolism, right? And we talked about the metabolic consequences. I'm sorry, metabolic consequences, in simple terms, refers to the effects and changes that happen in our body's metabolism. In other words, the way our body turns food into energy. And as Elder Isaac normally says, there's nothing as junk food. If it's junk, it's not food, right? So the body cannot turn junk into food, into energy properly, right? You'll get a quick rush, but we need to eat proper food so the body can turn the food into sustained energy. And this happens, the metabolic consequences happens because of a specific thing or behavior. In our case, we are looking at how sitting for a long time affects these metabolic functions. And there are links between prolonged sitting and obesity. Prolonged sitting often comes with a lack of physical activity. Lack of physical activity. Jumping to conclusions is not physical activity. All right. When we are not moving much, our bodies burn fewer calories. So now we understand why there is a connection, a link between prolonged sitting and obesity, because prolonged sitting often fosters a lack of physical activity. And when we are not moving much, our bodies burn fewer calories, making it easier to gain weight over time. And I've said before, advised before, one easy way to gain weight, to lose weight, and also to help with your metabolism, and also if you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, to help you is to walk for 20 minutes after every meal, even on one spot, for 20 minutes on after every meal. That helps to lessen the time, the sugars in your bloodstream, help you to lose weight, activate your metabolism, a whole host of good things. So you're going to walk with your head up high, your shoulders relaxed and back, and just walk calmly, swing arms, not too aggressively. All right. So the impact on metabolism is that sitting for extended periods can slow down your metabolism. Sitting for extended periods can slow down your metabolism. This means that your bodies might not process food as effectively, potentially leading to weight gain. To weight gain. Also, we have unhealthy snacking. And let me explain. Whenever I talk about snacking, I have to explain that we should not snack except at the same meal. So if you have a healthy snack, you should have the snack right after the meal that you're having. In other words, you shouldn't be eating between meals, right? It causes your body to retain fat. It overworks your digestive system, and your body will leave the food it was starting to digest and go after the snack. And that food that you were eating previously stays, turns into fat, it putrefies and damages your body. All right. So you want to be very careful. So sitting for a long time can also be linked to unhealthy eating habits like snacking on processed or high calorie foods. And a lot of us who may go to the movie theater, you see people buying the greased, oily uh, popcorn, processed food, drinking a soda, or maybe you're home and it's a movie night and you're eating an ice cream, whatever it is, after your meal, right? Snacking between meals. This contributes to the overall risk of weight gain. So the Yale University School of Medicine had this to say. Last year, the Annals of Internal Medicine, that's a publication, published a study of 8,000 adults that showed an association between prolonged sitting and a risk of early death from any cause. People who sat for no more than 30 minutes at a time had the lowest risk in that study. Other research has linked prolonged sitting or other sedentary behavior to diabetes, poor heart health, weight gain, depression, dementia, dementia, and multiple cancers. God made our bodies to move. When we don't move, we attract all of these diseases, says Yale University School of Medicine. They continue. It also causes prolonged sitting, causes vascular problems in your veins, lower back pain and spine issues, heart disease, weight gain and obesity, cancer, dementia, all from prolonged sitting. All right, so it's our time to reflect. As I said, I've been trying to shorten our presentations to live what I'm teaching, right? So now I'm going to ask you to take a few moments to reflect on your personal experiences, right? And I like each person, if possible, to share, take about probably 1 minute. How has sedentary behavior influenced your well-being, right? You can share your stories, and we'll try to navigate towards healthier choices together. How, oh, in fact, before we do that, let me remember my homework. I didn't forget my homework. So we put out a challenge that Elder Isaac, who is more than 70 years young, I wouldn't give his age unless he wants to, but he doesn't look his age at all, right? He's close to 80, doesn't look at all his age. And he walks or does about 10,000 or more steps per day, per day. And there was a challenge for the previous 2 weeks ago, Thursday, to last Thursday, to see how many of us could come close or beat Elder Isaac in that challenge. And we were to record our steps. How many of us did that? How many of us remember the challenge and reach close to, we said try to reach at least 5,000 steps a day? How many of us? How many of us? Talk
I
to me.
did it.
Who is I? Who's I? I don't know who I is that. Who's I?
Nadej.
Dr. Raymond, did you do that? You did it at work? You mean walking up and down to the patients?
Yeah, I did. I walk.
Okay, and how many steps?
Some days I've done more than 5,000. I know every day. So
And what's
I
the
try.
highest you reach? What's the highest you reach?
The highest I reached when we went to the airport, that was a lot of work. But the highest I've reached is like 9,000.
Okay, one time or a couple times?
I think it was 2 times, but I can go and check. I'll tell
All
you.
right, all right. Okay, who's next? Who's next? Who was here the first week, 2 weeks ago? I know Sister Irene was here. I know uh Miss Blake was
Yes,
here.
sir. And I
Huh?
did
Go
my
ahead.
yes, I was here and I did my homework. Only only some days they were always over 5,000.
Oh,
Five
praise God.
one day when it was 7,215, and I have um up until last night I didn't record it because I had to take off my watch to charge
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Mm-hmm.
then on Sabbath, last Sabbath, Sunday, and Monday, I checked it, but I forgot to record it.
Okay. You know what? Record. I mean, that's to write it down, but do you remember the numbers?
Yes, yes.
What was the highest number you got?
My highest was last Thursday, 7,215 steps.
Mm-hmm. So did you do any coming up to this week? Because last week was postponed. So this new week, did you add from last Thursday? Did you do
Yes,
any
that's what
more?
I've been doing. I continue adding. Last Friday was 7,000 plus
Okay.
steps.
All right. So from now on, 7,000 is your foundation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta do above 7,000 every day. That's your goal, right?
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Who's next? Who's next? My big sister, Auntie Lynn, just popped in. You came in time, Lynn. Did you do the homework? You're muted. we can't hear you, Lynn. You're muted.
I didn't come on last week because I was traveling out of town.
No, last week was postponed.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I put it on the WhatsApp link. So did you do the homework?
Are
The
you
walking,
talking about? Oh, yeah. Well,
the
see,
steps.
yes, I've been doing that. I've been going to the gym just about every day, and I get my steps in.
So how many did you record the steps? What numbers do you remember?
Well, I don't remember. I
Lynn,
just know. I
Lynn,
know that
you gotta do
I know.
push-ups. You gotta do push-ups. You didn't do the homework. You didn't do the homework. You gotta write it down.
Yeah, I didn't write it down, but usually my thing would record it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go to the gym, I'll spend at least 2 to 3 hours.
Okay. So do you remember your highest number?
My highest number is always close to 10,000.
Okay.
Once upon a time, I've done almost 20,000.
In one day?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, when you're out there 2 to 3 hours, that's
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Okay. All right. Anyone else did the homework? No one else did the homework who was here? I know I remember Miss Peggy was here, I think, if I remember correctly. Elder Isaac, how's it going with you? What are your numbers?
Today, good night, everyone.
Good
Today
night.
was 7,484.
No, man, you must be sick. No, you feeling sick today?
Well, after traveling all night,
I know that. You're tired, right?
okay, so I had to restrict myself.
I hear you. I know it was hard for you. But do you have any tens from other days?
Yeah. I've been, I've been, I've been 10 up to 15 plus.
Now,
Most of the
somebody,
days.
now my big sister Lynn has challenged you, right? You heard that you did 20,000, close to 20,000 one day, so she's coming after you.
Well, she still has to go past 30, and if she's getting close to 30, if she's getting close to 30, she have to report it, so she's gonna have a problem. She'll have a new goal that she'll have to go on.
Okay, all right. So I did I think I did that Thursday night when we were on, I think I did about I did 10,000, and the Friday I think I did 8, the Saturday I did 10. I did about 5 sets of 10s, and I didn't actually record afterwards, but every night I made sure I was way above 5, right? That's the baseline for everybody. So I wanted to continue this week. Please write it down or record it on your device. It's very important for your health. All right, let's go back to our question. All right, so take a moment to reflect, as we're saying, on your personal experiences. How has sedentary behavior influenced your well-being? And you can give it from the first time we spoke about this and you became intentional about it. How has that affected your well-being? Or if you're here for the first time, you want to say, how has being sedentary affected your well-being? Share your stories, what have you. Who will be first?
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Paulette.
Hi. I wanted to ask a question. I wasn't on the first time,
Okay.
and but from last week I started recording my steps. So it's cold outside, so I'm using one of those little foot resistant machines like a pump.
Mm-hmm.
Those little, and even for the digestive walk, I would go on it after eating.
Okay.
So I wanted to know if that could substitute walking.
Yeah, any movement you make, any movement, we want it to be moving. Yeah, that's walking. And that's what I'm talking about, folks. So Paula gave the name, what I said, the digestive walking is walking 20 minutes for 20 minutes after every meal to help the food digest better, help prevent diabetes. And if you are diabetic, help you not become worse, right? That digestive walk. So once you're walking, even on one spot around the house, in the garden to the mailbox. We want you to get the steps in.
Right. So I use that little sunning machine, and because it
Mm-hmm.
has resistance,
Mm-hmm.
I figure it would be closer to walking.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
use that, and then I keep the phone in my hand so it record.
Okay.
It recorded as steps. From last week, come down. Actually, my phone sent me a message to tell me that I wasn't walking as I used to. And I'm like, no, I can't afford this. I'm supposed to be recuperating. I am recuperating. I can't afford to go into sedentary lifestyle. So
No,
I
no, no. You
started
gotta keep moving.
with the machine to just, use it. So from last week, I did like 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then one night I went up to 8,000. Next night,
Okay. Okay.
7,000.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
it's a challenge I started. So it's good to know that. Right. Um, I've never really had sedentary lifestyle. I've never really had that problem. I've had a problem with overextension.
Okay.
And that is just as bad, not taking time to
Mm-hmm.
rest properly,
Mm-hmm.
going from one job to the next all over the place. Not, even if you have a meal plan, it's hard to stick to it when you're
Yes.
all over the place.
Yes.
So right now, I can't work because I'm sick. So I'm trying to get it right. So I am actually doing the 2 meal plan, and that has
Very
worked.
good. Yes.
Like I try to
Yes.
eat before 9, a complete meal
Yes.
with enough fruits, and then
Yes.
by 2:30, lots of food to keep me with lots of vegetables, and I don't eat again until the next morning. With
Good.
that,
Good.
I have lost like about 35 pounds
Amen. Amen.
since
Amen.
September
Amen.
last year, just
Amen.
by eating properly,
Yes.
drinking lots of water. But to be honest, I didn't come up with this on my own. I was at H.E.A.L. So
That's okay.
I don't
That's
want to make
okay.
it sound like I'm
No,
getting
no,
this
no.
right.
That's okay.
No,
That's
no,
okay.
I was at H.E.A.L.
Yeah.
for
Listen,
17 days.
a lot of people who I went to school with, we were in the same classroom, got the same education, came up with different results. Right?
Right.
So the point I'm making is you went there, you spent your money, but you were present, you were intentional. So what you learned is now yours.
Right. And
Oh yeah.
I just want to say, for those persons who are going through health challenge now, I think I met you on another platform, Doc.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the hospital today because they had to take me off my medication because my white blood cell was very low.
Mm-hmm.
And all I did was continue eating properly. I drink a little bit more fluids, but then I was a bit lazy when it come to the juicing. So I started my green juice